Hi everyone, I'm your structural anti-aging coach, Jessie Lee. If you have nasolabial folds, you definitely need to watch this video until the end. Because when most people notice nasolabial folds, their first reaction is to figure out how to get rid of them. They might consider buying skincare products, getting facials, massages, or even thinking about fillers. But after doing one-on-one assessments for a while, I noticed something really interesting. A 35-year-old can have nasolabial folds, a 45-year-old can have them, a 60-year-old can have them, and even a 68-year-old can have them. But their issues are actually completely different. Here, I need to point out that having nasolabial folds doesn't necessarily mean you're aging. Because everyone has different bone structures, soft tissue thickness, and facial proportions, some people can have noticeable nasolabial folds even when they're still very young. The appearance of nasolabial folds doesn't automatically mean aging. What's more important is to observe whether they gradually deepen as we get older, and whether they're accompanied by things like tissue sagging or volume loss. But the biggest mistake many people make is using the same method to treat nasolabial folds for all age groups. As a result, they spend a lot of time and money but never see any real improvement. So today, I want to tell everyone that nasolabial folds before age 50 and after age 50 are actually not the same kind of aging at all. A lot of people think nasolabial folds are just nasolabial folds. Some are deeper, some are shallower, and that's all there is to it. But from the perspective of structural anti-aging, what we care more about is why nasolabial folds appear and what they represent. Because nasolabial folds that appear at different ages send different signals about the body. Let's first talk about nasolabial folds before the age of 50. These are mostly due to functional aging. If you're between 35 and 50 years old, please listen carefully to this part, because this is the stage where you have the greatest chance to improve. People in this age group usually notice that sometimes their nasolabial folds are very deep, and other times they're not that noticeable. If you get a bit more sleep, they're shallower. After staying up late, they're especially deep. And when you're under a lot of stress, they're particularly obvious. Even the depth of your nasolabial folds can look different depending on the angle when you take a photo. Change the angle and they're not as noticeable anymore. This means that your nasolabial folds are still changing. They haven't really set in permanently yet. At this stage, nasolabial folds are more a sign of a functional imbalance. The problem often comes from our breathing becoming shallow, reduced movement of the diaphragm, the chest becoming increasingly stiff, shoulders getting tighter, and the head gradually jutting forward. The masseter muscles stay tense for long periods, and the body starts to go into a standby mode. All these issues gradually change the way force is distributed across the face, and eventually the nasolabial folds become more and more pronounced. From the perspective of structural anti-aging, nasolabial folds at this stage are more like a warning light. They're reminding you that your body is losing its youthful support. But the good news is that many of these problems are still highly reversible because the tissues haven't truly aged to the point of no return. The body is just temporarily operating in the wrong way. Let me use a metaphor to help you understand this better. You can think of your body as a house. The foundation and beams are still intact, but the pipes are clogged, the wiring is faulty, and the ventilation system isn't working. At this point, the house looks like it has problems, but the basic structure itself isn't actually damaged. For many people, nasolabial folds before the age of 50 are just like this situation. So for people under 50, the most important thing isn't to deal with the wrinkle itself, but to restore our functions, restore our breathing, restore our mobility, and restore the transmission of our strength. The second type is nasolabial folds that appear after 50. These are more about structural aging. If you've already entered menopause or are postmenopausal, things start to change. At this stage, in addition to functional imbalances, as we age, we gradually lose muscle mass, especially those deep muscle groups responsible for stability and support. Our bodies begin to undergo changes at the tissue level, such as reduced collagen, decreased fascia elasticity, downward shifting of fat pads, ligament laxity, bone loss, and a gradual reduction in the facial support structure. At this point, nasolabial folds are no longer just a matter of tension or posture, they're a sign that the entire support system is starting to age. If nasolabial folds at age 35 are like a tent rope that's been pulled crooked, then by age 60, it's as if even the tent poles themselves are starting to age. So naturally, the focus of treatment is different. For people over 50, the goal shouldn't just be to make the nasolabial folds a little less noticeable. Even if the folds are less deep, if the overall structure isn't improved, the person will still look aged. What's truly important is restoring support, improving circulation, regaining strength, and enhancing the quality of the tissues. Many students over 60, when being evaluated, often ask the same question: at my age, do I still have a chance to improve? And my answer is, of course you do. It's just that the goals for improvement are different from when you were 35. At 35, we're working to prevent structural imbalances and delay the formation of nasolabial folds. But at 60, we're focused on rebuilding the entire structural support. Although it's impossible to completely avoid it, we can slow down the process and improve ourselves through our complexions and overall well-being. The approach is different, but both can bring about corresponding changes. During this consultation, I also discovered something that really surprised me. 99% of people aren't doing any muscle training at all. You have to understand, muscles are like the steel framework of our house. When that framework starts to weaken, the whole structure begins to sink. After the age of 40, muscle mass keeps declining, and after 50, the rate of loss increases noticeably, especially in the deep neck flexors, core stabilizing muscles, glutes, and the muscles that stabilize the arches of your feet. These are all key parts of the body's support system. When we don't have enough muscle, the structure naturally can't hold up, so you'll start to see your head droop forward, your shoulders slump, and your face begin to sag. What's even more serious is that when our muscles lose their protective function, the support for our bones also decreases. You'll notice that your thoracic spine becomes more curved, your ribs become less flexible, your pelvic stability decreases, and your overall height gradually shrinks. When you were young, you might have been 1.7 meters tall, but after 60, you shrink to 1.67 meters. This is the problem of the entire support system collapsing. You might say, well, that's just a natural part of aging. That's right, as we get older, our muscles decrease and our bones become more brittle. But it's worth it to start paying attention to our breathing now, correct our posture, and maintain our stability system. We can't stop ourselves from aging, but even as we get older, we can still move with grace and sit with poise. A lot of people fall into the trap of ignoring the signals their bodies send when they're young and only start to worry when their nasolabial folds get deeper and more obvious, or when their bodies start having problems. Then, as they get older, they focus all their attention on those lines, desperately trying to get rid of them without seeing what the real underlying issue is. In reality, nasolabial folds have never been the enemy. They're more like a letter your body writes to you. At 35, they're telling you your bodily functions are starting to decline. After 50, they're letting you know your support is decreasing. If you only see that line on the surface, you'll never truly understand what nasolabial folds mean. So to sum it up, before 50, the focus with nasolabial folds should be on restoring function. After 50, the focus shifts to rebuilding support. Don't just think about getting rid of that line, learn to understand what it's telling you. Because nasolabial folds aren't the problem themselves, they're simply the result of structural imbalances in your body showing up on your face. What you really need to do is move back into your body. Start with your breathing. When your chest regains its mobility, your posture returns to balance, and your body rebuilds its support, you'll notice an overall sense of lift. At the same time, you should also incorporate facial massage and lifting techniques that are right for you. Don't just follow what others are doing or jump on trends, use techniques that actually suit you. And finally, it's important to relieve stress in both your body and mind. Youthfulness definitely comes from within. No matter how much effort you put in on the outside, if you don't change internally, the results will only be temporary. This doesn't just apply to smile lines. Your overall mental state, health, and youthful vitality all depend on this as well. This is the true meaning behind the word structure in structural anti-aging. It's not just about the physical structure on the outside, but also about achieving a balance between your inner and outer structure. And finally, if you missed this assessment, don't worry. I've put together a video guide for this evaluation, so you can watch the video and assess yourself. The link is in the comments and the description box. If you have any questions after your assessment, feel free to email me. Alright, that's it for today. Don't forget to hit subscribe and follow so you can stay on track. At the end of the video, there are some quick exercises for functional recovery and structural support, so don't go anywhere.